What is good, everyone? OJ over here from PlayerEssence, and welcome to the PE Nintendo Switch and gaming news video. Today we have some awesome information for you guys, like always, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So on Twitter, I actually asked the official Brawlout game and the developers as far as what's going on with this Nintendo Switch version of the game, because we really haven't heard anything outside of that initial teaser or new trailer for the Hyper Light Drifter guy that's going to be in the game, and of course they said it's coming to Nintendo Switch. Now for those who don't know, this is a Super Smash Bros. Melee Smash 4 type of game, and I'll go over some more of the details, but let's get into what they had to say to me when I asked them on Twitter if there's any possible info on a release date for the Switch version of Brawlout, because I'm really excited to play the game, and this is what they had to say in response to me. The Nintendo Switch version is almost ready, but the release timing depends on external Nintendo teams to go through the certification. We'll announce the exact date as soon as we know it. So this is awesome to get this update from them. I wasn't expecting too much in return. I was just expecting them to say, yeah, it's coming this year sometime, but no, they actually gave us a little bit more information, saying that it's pretty much almost ready, saying that it has to go through the certification process, so they're wrapping things up, and hopefully they'll have a release date sometime soon. I'm guessing that if it's going to come out this year, it's definitely going to be at the earliest a late October, maybe even November-ish title. Maybe it comes out in December, but it seems like it's a little bit closer to that. From what I understand, the certification process can be as little as a week or even take longer, depending on bugs, issues, whatever the case is. I'm not sure how many times that this developer has made Nintendo Switch games at this point, but getting into the actual game Brawl, let's talk a little bit about that, because a lot of you guys probably don't know about this game, and it's actually a pretty cool game, and it's described as a party fighting type of game. So party fighting game available now on Steam Early Access. It's coming later to Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, and like I said, it is coming to Nintendo Switch first, it seems. Now Brawl mixes the precision of violent fighters with a gorgeous animated style. It has streamlined combat. Brawlout does away with the shields and blocking, focuses heavily on the aggressive, fast-paced combat, which has made platform fighters so fun to both play and watch. Action is kept fast and fluid. Advanced techniques like air dodging, wave dashes, which is from Melee, as many of you guys remember, directional influence on stun, ledge grabs, or rage burst. That's also some mechanics as far as ledge grabs and things like that. Obviously, that's Smash Brothers. Now, vastly different combat styles. Each character is designed around a unique fighting style to make each fight more strategic. Grapple opponents, freeze them, dive kick their face, bomb them with projectiles, or smash them with long-range whips. Rage meter. Powerful special attacks consume your rage meter. When filled up, your character gets much tougher. Online features as well. A robust ranked match system complete with regional leaderboards, 1v1 casual matches for low-stress competition, 2 to 4 player private lobbies where players can practice or mess about to their heart's content. The Brawlout Network, where players can check their fight stats, match history, and replays. Brawlout TV, which allows for live spectating and watching of specific player replays. Weekly competitive tournaments for those looking to prove their Brawlout skills. And there are a number of fighters and everything if you want to go on the official page. But yo, this is looking pretty cool. I like the mechanics of being able to have wave dashes, ledge grabs, rage bursts. Since they have a pretty nice mechanic in there, this game is already out on PC, so I'm looking to get into contact with them to see if I can show it off a little bit, to see what we're in for on the Nintendo Switch. So what do you guys think about Brawlout on the Nintendo Switch so far? Have you guys played the PC version? You looking forward to this game based on what you know? Let me know in the comment section below. Alright, and moving on to the next article here. Fire Emblem Warriors sold through 50% of its initial shipment in Japan. So Fire Emblem Warriors debuted last week in Japan on the Nintendo Switch. The game sold about 41,000 copies. On the new Nintendo 3DS, that moved just under 20,000 copies. Now, Dengeki further adds that Fire Emblem Warriors sold through 50% of its initial shipment. The one somewhat comparison we have is Hyrule Warriors, which on the Wii U actually sold more, with a bit under 70,000 units. With a 57% sell-through rate, later on, Hyrule Warriors Legends sold around 56,000 copies with a 60% sell-through rate. So the numbers are down quite a bit, and this one's just a little bit surprising because Fire Emblem is actually a more popular franchise in Japan than The Legend of Zelda. So like I said before in the last post when we talked about it, it did underperform. You usually want to sell around 70 to 80% if you can, because you can look at those first week shipment numbers as far as what they're looking to sell, and you can kind of gauge where they want to be. Most developers don't want a complete sellout of their game, because then obviously people can't buy the game. So you want to sell around 70 to 80% if you can, and that's where those opening shipment numbers are. You ship a number that you think will be good to satisfy everyone who wants to buy the game, and then a little bit more, and it hit 50%. So it's a little bit lower than what they thought it was probably going to sell, but definitely underperforming. We'll see the legs as far as how this game has, if there's any potential discounts, or even how the DLC factors into sales. But one thing that I would say is that we're probably going to see, as the Nintendo Switch gains more popularity in Japan and people actually get one, that Fire Emblem Warriors will stick around and sell about a good 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 copies a week, pretty much leading all the way through the end of the year. I think it's going to be one of those games that kind of has legs. Hyrule Warriors did, so I expect Fire Emblem Warriors to as well, especially as more people, because this type of franchise is a little bit more for the core Nintendo fan out there. So for those who don't have it yet, I'm pretty sure it'll be picked up later in subsequent weeks after its initial release here. So we'll see how it does this upcoming week. And what do you guys think about Fire Emblem Warriors? Have you guys checked out some of the gameplay? I'm really liking it, and we're going to be getting it next week pretty much. Next Friday is when the game comes out, so I'm hyped to play it for you guys. Let me know your thoughts on Fire Emblem Warriors in the comment section below. Alright, and moving on to the last article here, we're going to be talking about Sonic Forces and some of the stuff that they've said about the Nintendo Switch version of the game. Now, it's been confirmed that the game will run at 720p docked and undocked on the Nintendo Switch. The PS4 and Xbox One versions are going to be 60 frames per second and 1080p, I think. At least I know for the PS4 version, that is going to be 1080p, 60 frames per second. But the interesting thing that they said about this game, amongst many other things, is that the Nintendo Switch version runs at 30 frames per second, but has the inputs or controls of it being at 60 frames per second. So let's get into what the developers had to say here, because that one kind of tripped me up a little bit. So some of the developers working on Sonic Forces, such as the Sonic Team's boss Takahashi Iizuka and producer Shun Nakamura, have shared some information about the process of bringing the game to Nintendo Switch. This includes details about the game's performance. The team was already committed to port the game to Nintendo Switch from the very beginning, even before anyone really knew what the system would be. One of the challenges was the team had a deadline by which the game needed to be done and a mysterious hardware they needed to work on. Development was aided by the use of the Hedgehog Engine 2. This made working with Switch much easier once they were finally made aware of what the console actually was. The team has a lot of control on what the final game is going to look like, and they did their best to make sure that it had the same overall look and feel no matter the platform it's on. Development on the Nintendo Switch version was started after the other platforms. When the PS4 and Xbox One versions were in the alpha stage, Sega was at the point in which they could only run one stage of the game on the Nintendo Switch and felt like what they were aiming to. Even if the core content of the game was done, much of the development on the Nintendo Switch came right at the end in order to customize Sonic Forces to make the best out of the hardware. Even around the time of E3, the development team wasn't yet sure if they'd make it on time. The use of the proprietary engine and having full control of it allowed them to really polish the game for the Nintendo Switch during the final stages of development. The game was first developed on the PC, and then the team made sure that it works well on other platforms. Having multiple platforms didn't bring many changes into the workflow, but they had to match the performance on the Nintendo Switch, so that required dedicated tweaks. So basically, kind of like what every other developer has said, working alongside as far as the Nintendo Switch compared to other things. The difference with this one is that the actual internal teams, or at least based on what they're saying here, were working on the Switch version. Usually you see a lot of developers get some help from someone else, like for example Bethesda, Panic Button. They're working on a couple different games, but they're going to be working on Doom for the Nintendo Switch. It's not the actual core team that worked on Doom. Also Rocket League for the Nintendo Switch, also Panic Button, once again, not the core Rocket League team, Psyonix, or them work Psyonix as far as them working on the port of the game. And we've actually even seen smaller indie developers do the same thing. Chucklefish, when it comes to Stardew Valley, that's not necessarily the same team. They actually had someone else do that. So we've been seeing a lot of developers kind of outsource the development of the Nintendo Switch because of the nature of the dev kits. They got the dev kits in 2016. They have to start work on porting their games, and they can't do it since they're already working on their next projects or DLC or whatever the case is. So it seems that the Sega team said, you know what, we're going to be working on it. We're going to be working on it alongside the main platforms, and I guess it's a little bit of a downer for some that it's going to be 30 frames per second, but more interestingly enough, the controls are going to be 60, so it's still going to feel responsive. And I think that's the biggest problem that people have when it comes to 30 versus 60. It just doesn't feel like the controls are as responsive, but apparently according to them, they're going to be just as responsive as it is in 60 frames per second, but it's just going to be output in 30, I guess due to the optimization of the Hedgehog engine, and I guess how it works with the Nintendo Switch. So overall, I'm still not convinced that this game is going to be a great game, because people are out here saying, oh well, get this game on this system or not. I think we should all wait till the game actually comes out and you can see it for yourself and kind of see what some of the reviewers are, whoever you trust. Play the game, guys. We have some people already committing already, and you know, I think we really need to kind of just slow down and wait till the game comes out, see how it does, because this is the type of hype that we saw sometimes, somewhat, right, with Sonic Boom and some of the other games that have came out when it comes to 3D Sonic games. So for me, I'm taking the wait and see approach. Hopefully I can get a review code from Sega. I can check it out on the Switch. I can check it out on PC or PS4. See how the game is and let you guys know how things are, because I don't want anyone to fall victim to the Sega and Sonic curse. We've seen it before. I fell victim to it twice last generation, and I am not going to fall victim to it again. There are some things that look cool in the game, but like I said, there's already been some early impressions that haven't been the best, but it's not finished, so we need to wait and see. So what do you guys think about this information here? Are you still going to be picking up Sonic Forces or looking at getting it on the Nintendo Switch, even though it's 30 frames per second compared to 60 on other platforms? Let me know in the comment section below. Alright Ninja, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We've got Facebook, we've got Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Really helps us spread the content of PlayerEssence across our interwebs in addition to YouTube. Also make sure you check out our Patreon page, pledge any tier, be entered in to win some awesome prizes. Plus we have Discord voice chat for our live streams and prized eShop tournaments. Also make sure you check out our brand new YouTube live gaming page and consider sponsoring PlayerEssence. If you do, you get access to some really cool emotes, plus you can get entered in for tournaments and much more. So check out the link in the description below and consider sponsoring PlayerEssence on YouTube. Also make sure you hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for the latest Japanese, RPG, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you Ninja for the next video. Peace.